everybody, and welcome to Adobe Live. I'm Danielle Morimoto, and I'm a senior experience designer here at Adobe, and I am joined by the lovely Jill Rosenberg. So welcome to the stream today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you. I know this is your first time.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yay. We have Jill, and she's going to be designing live using Adobe XD and redesigning Kingdom Hearts website. So we'll get into that a little bit more later. But we have a jam-packed week today, and for the next 3 days. So we have UI UX Design Week. Earlier this morning, Jennifer was on, and we will be here today, tomorrow, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. And then at 1 o'clock, my good friend and coworker Ainsley will be on as well. So make sure to tune in for the next 2 days and join us as we are designing. We also have a daily challenge that is going on. So, later on in the stream, in about an hour, we will be taking a look at any submissions that you guys have, and we can provide feedback on those designs. I think it's a music player app, so make sure to get those in, and we can take a look at those. But yeah, Jill, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our new friends on the chat?
Yeah, okay, so I'm Jill. I am a product designer, actually from Boston, so I'm enjoying my first trip to San Francisco right now.
Yay. Although it's a bit rainy, but
It's fine. It's like Boston weather plus 40 degrees, so
yeah.
I'll take it.
No,
it's
yeah,
like
I get
the
that.
same, but at least it's not frozen. So I'm going to be working on like a revamp of the Kingdom Hearts 3 website today, which I'm super excited to do for you guys. I've been in product design for a couple of years, so been getting some really solid experience in Boston and like the startup scenes, and I just like doing kind of like creative projects on the side, so this will be a good one to tackle for that.
Awesome, yeah, and Eric, Rasim, everybody on the chat, thanks for joining us. We're really excited to have you guys here, and make sure that you're engaging in the chat with us today.
Yeah.
We do have a, talk to us, please. No, we're here to answer any of your guys' questions, and to, if you have any questions around design, around what Jill's going to be working on screen, our process, or just career stuff, feel free to chat with us. And we will have a chat and win. So in 30 minutes, you can potentially win this hardcover notebook from Moo. And so make sure that you're chatting with us, and you can have a chance to win that. And we'll have a little countdown in the bottom of the screen, so you know when that is coming up as well. So let us know where you guys are coming in from. Hi, Michael from Minnesota. But let's just get started maybe with getting to know Jill a little bit more. I have her dribble up here so you can take a look at some of the work that Jill has been coming out with, but we want to talk a little bit more.
So my dribble is definitely a mix of things. I like doing illustration a lot, so you'll see that I do incorporate that into a lot of my UX UI projects, but most of this isn't like directly work related. You'll see some stuff that's also video game related, so there's kind of a theme here actually. Shout out if you like any Nintendo Switch games, because that's where a good amount of this comes from. We got some Zelda stuff happening.
Where we'll just shout it out here.
So that's just kind of what I like to do when I'm not designing for work per se.
Yeah, and we're going to be taking a look at, let's see, on your screen you have Kingdom Hearts, and that's, Jill's going to be, redesigning and taking a look at that today and what that experience is.
Yeah. So I kind of stumbled across this website at one point, and this is actually Square, I'm going to probably mess this up, but Square Enix, their website for Kingdom Hearts 3, which just came out about, I guess, a month ago at this point. Was a pretty big deal with the 14-year wait. And it is a little outdated, I'll say, as far as best practices for UX and even UI at this point. Lots of screenshots without any text, just screenshots. So this is kind of the homepage at this point for this website. And there's like a lot of navigation issues I can get into later. But this is sort of like the piece that we're going to be revamping and really trying to make just a better experience and make it more useful to people that are looking. Yeah, I see someone say compare that to Fortnite's website. Yeah. That's like exactly.
I was wondering, is this their real website? This is their real website.
This is their real website.
Yes.
This is live right now. Like, this is it. I can also show you just quickly for fun. This is their Square Enix's like main website. So totally different look, like opposite, just opposite. But if you like go in, so this is where the crazy navigation comes in. Has all their games, and Kingdom Hearts is actually just this. And this is like supposed to be Kingdom Hearts 3, right? But this navigation, it took me a long time to figure this out because it is so confusing, is actually just for like the Kingdom Hearts games in general. So it's not specific to the third game, even though this leads you to believe that you're on a page for Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's just like one of the UX issues. And then this subnav is actually specific to Kingdom Hearts 3. How you would know that from looking at this page is another question. Yeah, so that's kind of some of the stuff we're gonna be diving into.
Awesome. Do you want to just jump right into XD then? Maybe we should do
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
sure. Actually, here, let me pull up my little slides first.
Awesome. Yeah, let us know in the chat if any of you play Kingdom Heart or heard of it, or what you guys
must
think
be
of
at least one
the site
person
as
in this
well.
chat that's playing Kingdom Hearts. If not, then I'm really doing the wrong thing here. Yeah, so the plan for the next 3 days, today I'm gonna just talk about some of the issues of the current site, which we sort of just started. I can show some sketches maybe that I've already done, just like really, really sloppy actually, sketches of just like the layouts that I'm thinking of to solve some of these issues. And then jump right into wireframes in XD, yeah. And then day 2 will probably be finishing up wireframes if we don't get through everything today, and then jumping into some of the UI visual design. And day 3, I'm really hoping to do some prototyping if we can get that far, but we'll see how it goes.
We can do it.
I think we can.
So we have a couple people in the chat. Roman has played the very first Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Alberto, I'm sorry,
so
you now
funny.
are questioning playing Hearts 3 simply because of
Because
seeing the
of
website
the
after
website.
this point. But Jill's gonna do a beautiful redesign.
The game is better than the website, I can attest to that. Yeah, I've actually only played 2 and 3. So not sure how, but I did end up skipping 1. Yeah, it was a long time ago. I don't know.
Awesome.
My parents didn't buy me 1, I guess. I guess that would be why. So I can jump into just like going over some of the issues. Not sure if there's a better way. If I can like show this at the same time as some of the website. Okay, cool. It's like kind of responsive, so that's helpful. So like I talked about, the nav bar is really confusing. I won't go into each tab, but a lot of these buttons do not do what you think they're going to do. And a lot of them feel different too. So you have like this personality quiz, for example, and it's like you've landed on a different website again with the branding and just
have you taken
overall.
this personality quiz before?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I
At
know, maybe we'll have
some point,
to
I
do
feel like
it
we'll
if
have
we-
to figure out
if we have
which one
extra
we are.
time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just like I said before, the homepage is like pretty much just images. This is just a gallery. Doesn't have any text or anything that tells you or gives you any additional info. This website largely assumes that people know what Kingdom Hearts is already, which I feel like is kind of a fair assumption, but definitely not like best practice. And another thing for like usability, this background is definitely distracting, and I could see that it would lead to accessibility issues too. And also not best practice. The section headers, these could definitely be argued that they kind of look like buttons or look like they'd be clickable. They are not, they are just static. This tab, social videos, I would think that this is some kind of like social media, like just anything to do with social media really. It's not, it's just videos.
To Voodoo Val's point on the chat, it's
Sure.
they say it sort of feels like a fan page, which is
Yeah.
kind of true, like one of those
No, it
like
definitely
wiki
does.
fan pages or something like that. It definitely has that feeling to it. So I'm excited to see like what you have in mind for like a redesign for this. Now having seen sort of like what exists.
Yeah, I agree. It does look a little bit fan pagey, and I kind of like the only thing I do like about this website, just knowing like the context of the game and that it did come out in like the early 2000s ish, is like the website feels like it belongs in that time era.
Yeah.
So I like it for that like nostalgia type of thing, but overall, just like a lot of things that are really confusing. I think the color palette is like crazy dark. Doesn't need to be this dark if you know the game itself, and also like the it's not like a home screen of the game, but if you know what I'm talking about, help me out. When you like load the game, the screen that comes up is actually white and has like a nice illustration on it. And that's kind of like the overall feeling that I would want to go for the website. Like I think the website should reflect the actual game more. And overall, I think also just could include more content instead of just screenshots and videos. So,
With that, you want to jump into XD?
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah.
see like
Yeah.
something, not this website right now.
I know you can only look at it for so long.
I feel like we traveled back in time, and now we're
Sure.
coming back into 2019, and we're gonna see
We're
what this site
gonna-
would look like.
We're gonna hop in
Yeah.
our time ship, and we're gonna go into the modern day. So, some things that we want to include. This is just based on conversations that I had with people I know that have played the game. Feel free to add ideas in the chat. I definitely want to know, like, if this was a totally different Kingdom Hearts 3 website, what are some things that you would want to see on the site? Some things I got as ideas thrown to me from friends. They want to be able to buy the game, which seems obvious, but is important.
Yeah.
Videos of gameplay, which I think is pretty common if you look at other websites, which is already kind of included, but we definitely want to keep that. Character info, worlds have always been a big part of Kingdom Hearts in general. That's where all the fun Disney stuff comes in. Keyblade info, story details, and news, and maybe even a little bit about the music. So, if we go in, so I've already done some sketches on paper, which I'm not sure if there's like a way for me to show those, or if I should just, what do you think? Should I just jump into
Yeah,
wireframing?
Yeah, do we have the GoPro here? Move this over.
Oh, I should put them in the
here.
middle? Yeah. Gotcha.
Side up, so all I gotta do is just put it down.
You can just set it down here.
Okay.
Sweet.
So,
So is this typically a process you start with sketching by hand, or?
yeah, especially for like larger projects, I definitely do. I think some small design stuff you don't need to
Yeah.
like really like whiteboard it out, and but definitely for like a website redesign, I think it's helpful. You can see on here that I have kind of a rough idea of the things I think will be in the nav, like having the logo, the story, worlds, characters, videos, buy now kind of stuff. And then I think having like an image or even it could be like a short clip as the top with the actual game logo would be cool. Some like kind of info about what Kingdom Hearts is, with some sort of like a trailer. I think that's like pretty common on a lot of these websites that I've looked at for games.
Yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions about Jill's process. She's sort of walking us through before she jumps into XD, starting with these wireframes. So Metin, thanks for joining us. But yeah, let us know also what you want to see in the designs that she's making. Keita, I saw that you said that you want to see a different color scheme from what exists now. I think, compared to that dark black background, it seems like maybe we'll go in a different direction than that.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I think just for the sake of like seeing how it could look without a black background would be interesting as an exercise, so just including like chunks of like different areas of like the website, having like story with the option. Yeah, it's a little bit out. Just kind of a summary of like what the story tab is and the option to like jump to that tab. So this story chunk will bring you to like the same place as clicking on story in the top nav would, for example.
Awesome.
So that's kind of like what I'm thinking, but let's just like jump in.
Cool. Jumping into Adobe XD. Here we go.
So, I'm gonna use shortcuts because it'll be easier, but so to do like rectangle, just press R. Super, super easy. Going to give this kind of like a darker fill. And this is where I think I could see the square. And it's living. Probably be the actual logo. But for now, it's just that. I really don't want to do this whole thing in Helvetica, so let's do...
Yeah, and Voodoo Val said that she thinks that everything in your new navbar sketch is great, so...
Thank you! Definitely let me know, guys, if there's like a different tab, though, that you would want to see on this site.
Soap says that I like how the nav elements are listed out with the CTA standing out at the end. Yeah, I think it's important for the call to action to be prominent, make sure that people know exactly what they should be clicking on and when.
Yeah, definitely. And just from working in like, I guess you could say like e-commerce for a little bit, it's really common that people just want to have like CTAs everywhere and buttons, and like you need to be drawn to those first. So if this site is trying to get you to buy the game, you want that to be pretty apparent.
Yeah. And Keita, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly, so sorry if I'm butchering it, but you're asking how long would this process normally take if you weren't pressed for time? And are you asking specifically around like the sketches, or are you curious around like actually designing it out in XD? Let us know.
Yeah. If it was a real website redesign, I would say like it would take way longer than this, because there would be more, there would be more like business, like stake in it, and when you're designing for a company, there's always going to be a lot of people with opinions. I'll say that. So I would say website redesigns. I've never been part of one like start to finish. But they typically, what do you think? Do you think like a year or like more? They're big projects.
I think website redesigns are definitely a long process. I feel like there's a lot of different stakeholders typically, so it can take a while. But as for the design process, I feel like it really depends on how many people you have working on it. I feel like the sketch process is usually really fast and like you brainstorm, but I think getting into like the details of the experience and sort of depending on, how much you know, you're doing potentially like user research and like testing with people, that can take some time as well. And I think it's important to get feedback and make sure that everything is working. Or not working, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, or not working. That's the key there.
Yeah, and it is true, Val. Like in this case, like you're getting to choose what you think is best, like especially if it's more of like a side project or something, versus like having company feedback or client feedback. That definitely, you know, you have so many rounds of revisions, so it could definitely be a much longer process.
Just trying to make sure I don't miss any tabs here. But for the sake of mock-up, I'm not sure why. Do you know why these space? Weird. They ended up closer to each other than the rest. Everything else spaced really well.
You hover over the pink spacing there and see if you can adjust.
Oh, okay. They all are equal. It's just like it's because this word's so long, it's messing it up. All right, cool. For the sake of mock-up, that's fine. And
you can probably center your text and use the different text box style.
Can I do it all at once?
So Jake is wondering, when going toward a very generic, common design, what do you see as the value of sketching on paper?
It's easier to get your thoughts down like really quickly when you're sketching. And I think personally, if I jump right into digital, I find myself like wanting to skip the wireframing part more because it's easy to like use all these like really cool effects and like get into making things like look really pretty. So I think it forces me to like take a step back more and really like let the wireframing process happen. As a person who is definitely more drawn to like visual design than wireframing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also
That's
just
my
about
favorite part.
what is best for you as your communication style, like what you feel most comfortable with. I feel like it's important just to be able to visualize something to communicate it. So whether it's like sketching on paper, or if you're more comfortable and it's faster for you to, you know, jump straight into XD and start to design there. I think everybody sort of has what works best for them.
Sure.
But being able to just quickly communicate your ideas is really important.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Especially in like a work setting too. It's like it's a good way to like get buy-in from people up front and make sure that you're going in the right direction before you invest your time making those digital versions.
Yeah, and I see some of you guys are wondering a little bit more about the chat and win. So don't forget, you know, if you guys are engaging with us on the chat, you can have a chance to win a hardcover Moon notebook. And the countdown is below, so we'll announce a winner in a little over 5 minutes. But thanks for joining us, you guys. Christopher, hello, welcome to the live stream. For those of you just joining, Jill is designing live in Adobe XD, redesigning the Kingdom Hearts current website, and trying to take a look at what that would look like from her perspective, being a gamer herself.
Yeah, and definitely, chat to win that notebook later because Moo is awesome. I've gotten a bunch of stuff printed from them, and the paper is just really nice. Yeah. I don't actually own a notebook from them, but but the paper is all really nice.
If only you could chat and win.
If only I could. Maybe I could find a way. Let's see. What am I doing here? So I'm going to, for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to use some placeholder, some good old placeholder text. Let's see if I can do this right. Oh, this is really large. Hold on. Let's see, like maybe 16. You're a little small. 20. I always have it selected too much, and then it won't let me do it. Okay. Fill. So this is a plugin. Just lets you fill text boxes with lorem ipsum really easily. So it's super useful for that. For this,
great to have it built in to just have placeholder text. You don't have to go off and then like copy and paste and bring it back in. Let us know if there are any plugins that you guys use that you guys like on XD, or if there are any that you would want to see in XD. Feel free to chat that in.
Yeah, let me know, because I'm definitely not a plugins pro, but this is one that I do use that's super useful.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. But definitely let me know if you guys think of any, if you see me doing anything here and you're like, oh, there's a plugin for that, help me out. So this would be like your kind of like intro text as to, I'm not sure what the content would be, but like kind of a summary of like what Kingdom Hearts is, which is really hard to do in this little of text, but for people that haven't played Kingdom Hearts, I will say the story is insanely complicated. I don't even really understand all of it, but...
So Diego's wondering, is it a good idea to do projects like this for your portfolio?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's really easy to like only have work projects in your portfolio, which is something to be said for professional experience, obviously. But I do think that certain places will appreciate you having like kind of like passion projects.
Yeah.
Because it just shows like a little bit of your personality and like your design taste. When you're designing for a company with an established brand already, it like definitely dictates a little bit of what you can do design-wise, because you gotta follow the brand. And but yeah, no, I definitely would recommend.
Yeah, I think passion projects are really
Passion
important to that.
projects.
Yeah. Plus, I think
They're good for like your design sanity too.
yeah, stay sane. Have a nice little side passion project.
Yeah.
If work isn't going so well, you have your
Yeah.
side project. Plus, I think for your portfolio, you know, showing what you want to do is really important versus also just showing like what you have done. So really curating your portfolio. So if there's some type of work that you really want to do, if this is really what you're passionate about and you want to be doing that work, whether you are now or not, doing a side project like that and then putting that up on your portfolio, what you show is really the type of work that you're going to get, right? So
Yep.
I think that that's really important. So I think it could be a really good idea for you if that's the type of work or the type of thing that you really like doing, then definitely like work on something like this for your portfolio. Yeah, Voodoo Val, you can always showcase the prototype as a Behance project. Totally. That's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, so now I'm just going in, I'm gonna create this kind of like repeating block that can serve as like these previews of what the content in the tabs is. So if you're scrolling down this site, you can still come across like different ways into this content. Another way of doing that is having like a sticky navigation at the top of your screen, so you never lose these tabs, but for this site, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let people kind of explore and just fall into this different content.
But if you are interested in having sort of that stickier content at the top, like fixed scroll is definitely a new feature in Adobe XD, a relative, not...
I was just gonna ask, I was
but
gonna say, but you can totally do that in the prototyping.
yeah,
right?
and it's super simple to do. Really all it's like the click of a button and you can, so as you're just there and the right side of the screen there, you'll see there's, if you just click, go ahead and click on a rectangle again, or just like any element. So if you click on any element, then in your side panel on the right-hand side, you'll see that there's now a button that says fixed position when scrolling. And so if you click that on, then when you play the prototype, everything else is, well, it will stick. You'll see there's a little bit of stuff going on because you have to stick a couple different elements because you're layering, right, is coming in. But yeah, you can easily sort of fix certain elements. So when you scroll.
Work now. I'm not even.
Oh, now now we're actually
I'm not even
gonna
gonna do it for the design, but I want it to work. Here, grab all of these.
Awesome.
Do I have to group them or they can all be?
You will, but
Okay,
right now
cool.
we're going to switch over for a second because we have our chat and win portion that is going to happen. So make sure that you are joining us in Behance and chatting on the stream right now. Let us know, let's see, what your favorite Disney character is, since we're working on Kingdom Hearts.
One.
So let us know right now, and then we will have a winner for the chat and win who is going to win the notebook. Yes, it is notebook time, Raul. So we're very excited that you all are joining us. And I just saw Jeannie just joined us in the chat. Hi, thanks for joining. All right, so we are back. Let's see, we have some people who really into Aladdin. All right, we got Mickey. What's your favorite Disney character? Do you have one?
From this game, at least, I really like Donald. I think Donald is hilarious.
Do they
He
have...
just like squawks at you the entire game and like heals you, and it's perfect.
Interesting.
I like how many people are just saying moo in the chat right now.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. We have Hercules, Stitch. Oh, I do really like Stitch. Stitch is a great character.
Simba.
But congratulations, Andy. You are the winner of our chat and win. So you're getting this awesome Moo hardcover notebook.
Yeah.
I was going to pull it out of its sleeve. But
sleeve.
Like some struggles, but it's happening. So awesome. And yeah, and if you weren't the winner today, don't worry, we're gonna be on this stream the next 2 days, and you can also go to moo.com/Adobe Live and get a discount there as well. So yeah, you get 15% off your next order if you use that code. But yeah, we'll be here. For those of you just joining us, again, I'm Danielle Morimoto, and this is Jill Rosenberg, and she's designing in Adobe XD, working on a redesign of the Kingdom Hearts 3 website. And we will be here tomorrow and Thursday as well, so you can have a chance to win if you join us again in those couple days.
Okay, now, this is the moment of truth. Did this work? The sticky
Our
header.
scroll element.
We're back to this. I'm waiting for, let's see. Nope. It's the layering. So that's the thing about Big Scroll. You just have to make sure that you have them at the very top of your layers. But yeah, when you just click that. It's funny too, because I've made this work before.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
Success.
Anyways.
But yeah, so it's, you can make fixed scroll elements, and that makes a huge difference in a prototype. And really, like you saw, it's really just, the click of one button. And I mean, obviously you have to group things and stuff like that, but it makes a big difference in sort of like how interactive your prototype can be.
Yeah. No, super cool. If I had thought about layering, it wouldn't have been that complicated. That's my fault, guys.
We weren't planning on making it a fixed scroll element, so all good.
But yeah. So I'm just gonna keep making these. What are my other worlds? Yeah, I really want to have in this like a really cool like worlds page where you can find out more like information about this game, like segmented by the worlds. The game itself is like huge, so it seems like a really good way to like break up the content with like characters and like different keyblades and such. So I'm excited to kind of like build out that page.
So Raphael's wondering, do you prefer wireframing from scratch or using kits? And that's a really good question, because we didn't touch upon sort of any of this, how you're starting within your file a little bit and your setup typically.
So I typically just wireframe from scratch. Either that or like I can say when I'm doing like work, like for my job, we do have like standard symbols and stuff that we like tend to repurpose. Because that is a good like time saver. But for the sake of this project, I'm just gonna keep it like really lo-fi. I think it's easy to get into like mid-fi / like high fidelity wireframes when you're doing prototyping or wireframing the other way.
Yeah, I think it also depends, like you said, on like if you have a project that you're working on with a bunch of people and you're working around like a very strong like visual design. I typically find that we do have like, you know, set colors and icons and everything that we're using, and so sometimes we do have kits that we're starting from or that we're sharing like across our libraries. But otherwise, like if we're doing more of like, I do a lot of like vision work, right? So we're thinking like what's next for Adobe, and so I'm always designing with, you know, these new ideas and coming up with these brainstorms really quickly. Then it's not so much about as much of the visual elements, and so it's just kind of like starting from scratch, going in and just kind of wireframing around.
Yep. I think it's like a good, they both have like their time and place, you know?
Yeah.
Can I reuse this?
Chris is wondering, he's wondering if you use layout grids.
So I do when I am like doing the like final high fidelity visual design stuff. I have lately been working on like 8-pixel grids for this. I'm going grid free, but I definitely will be paying closer attention to that stuff when I go back in and make this like more like what you would hand off to a dev. I think it's really important actually because it makes dev way easier if you have some kind of structure for them to follow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Ramon's wondering, did you start out as a UX, UI designer, or did you transition from another design field?
So I went to school actually just for like graphic design, visual design, and have kind of fallen into UX and UI.
At Northeastern University, which we found out, so we found out, like, not to like totally just bombard you there, but like, we both happened to go to Northeastern University, and not only go there, but we overlapped in school. Like, we went to college at the same time and did not realize. So shout out, go Huskies.
Go Huskies.
Yeah, but that's like totally crazy small world.
It's
yeah,
so
but
small,
so after
it's
you
crazy.
graduated, where'd you end up?
So Boston is like a pretty intense startup scene. So I've been at a few companies, but it's like, the good thing about startups is it's really easy to get exposure to like these different fields because typically, this isn't always true, but typically startups don't have like super robust design departments. So you can end up wearing a lot of different hats, and that was the case for me. So that's kind of how I fell into doing some of this work as a designer that was doing like marketing, visual design, but then also got to do some of what you think of as just typical like product design, doing UX, UI. And I really enjoyed that piece of that job. And that led me to finally like specialize more and move into a job where I didn't do marketing as much. Yeah.
And so we have someone like who was asking? Someone was asking about the fact that they were a graphic designer and they're looking to transition into UX UI design field. Do you have any like thoughts or suggestions on how they could do that?
Yeah. So number one thing I will say is I've been lucky to have some really like strong mentors in this field. I would say if you can find, it kind of depends where you are, but if you're in like a city where there are a lot of designers, just like find those connections and get some kind of like guidance in the field. I think you don't like 100% need it, but it's really, really helped me. And just like find those opportunities to get involved in UX, UI, whether it's at your current job, if you're a designer that's in like just more typical like graphic design, see if you can get involved in some other projects at some scale, because any experience I think helps. And then something we talked about earlier, just like the passion projects.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Just like start playing around with it and get some projects going and see if you can get feedback from anyone that's a UX, UI designer already, and just like kind of learn. Yeah.
Yeah, to Marek's point, like tons of research. I'd say like getting, looking at other people's work, other applications, other websites, kind of like what do you like, what don't you like, and what's trending, what's not, and then starting to just dig in and dive in with your own work. And like you said, the passion projects are just starting to like make some things and seeing and getting feedback on those projects for sure.
Yep. So this is just gonna be like a placeholder for a footer.
Okay.
But something I think would be cool is having like social media stuff happening here. They don't have, I'm not even sure they really have any social accounts. They probably don't if this is the website, but in a different world, having sort of like links to different social.
You know what you could do in that bottom section? I can't help it, but one of my favorite features, repeat grid. You could totally use repeat grid.
You're right. I know. Here, you know what? I'm gonna just.
So for those of you who don't know,
undo it. I'm gonna redo it.
You gotta see it.
Yeah. Here we go. Bam.
There you go.
Just like that. So much easier. Okay. Cool. So this is like kind of the basic layout I'm thinking for the homepage.
Nice.
Let me know, guys, if there's any other like content blocks that you would want to see on if you're looking at a video game's homepage for a game that you haven't played. I'm definitely a little biased in this, having played the game.
Just a little.
So just a little bit of that. Let's see.
Cool. I see Jason just joined the stream. Hey, Jason.
Hello.
Good to see you. Anissa, thanks for joining the chat as well.
I like how go Boston. That's cool. Yeah. Berkeley, Emerson. Nice. Oh, I spent a lot of time around the Berkeley campus
Did you really?
at Northeastern. Yeah, because it's like pretty close. Yeah, definitely a cool area. Promo for Boston right now. Okay, so from this page, what I would like to do is jump into kind of mapping out what a page about the different worlds in Kingdom Hearts could look like. So if I can, bam, just like that, we're done. No, I'm just kidding. Let's have, so if we're in like the worlds tab, will this change all of them if I change the font weight?
I think someone was asking earlier, like, how do you go about choosing the font face that you have for a website?
That's a good question. I think that in general, this actually might not even be the font I go for the visual design, but like this font I think is pretty clean and works well in wireframes. I also just like, it's my go-to a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I think every designer kind of has their favorites and their go-to fonts.
Yeah, it's not even something I necessarily like analyzed in this situation and was like, what is the best font for my wireframe? But as far as like actual websites, you definitely want to keep it like clean fonts for body copy. You can do some fancier fonts for headers if you want. It's kind of the same practices as print, I would say.
Yeah, let us know in the chat if you have like a go-to font that you use for websites, or if you have any resources of places that you go to find the fonts that you want to use.
I see them watching from Northeastern. That's my sister.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's at
Hi,
Northeastern.
Jill's sister.
For design.
Thanks for watching.
Katie,
Yeah.
Shout out to Katie. That's funny. It's just such a small world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hi, Fernando. D, thanks for joining. For those of you who are just coming in 45 minutes, we are going to take a look at our daily challenge submissions. And so make sure that you are checking that out. There's more information in the challenge tab. If you go and sign into Behance and click there, you can find more information. But today's daily challenge, we'll be providing some feedback on those links in about 45 minutes.
Cool. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, for the worlds, I want to have just kind of like a nice top image that introduces you to the page. And then each world actually has like a logo, basically. They each have like these really cool logos. So I wanna have a bar across the top that has the logo for each world, and it could be just like thinking ahead, could be like a cool hover interaction, or Yeah, or a slider, or I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna just map this out as having, I wanna say it's 9. I think there's 9 of them. This might be too big, but we'll go for it. Going to remember to use this. Cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of people sort of telling us what they use for some of their fonts coming in at, there's Adobe fonts, which, previously known as Typekit. There's myfonts.com. We're seeing Typewolf, Google Fonts. So a lot of different places that people are sort of taking a look to find what they want to use for their sites.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Adobe Typekit is great. I love that you can like preview. You can put in exactly what you're gonna be using for copy, and you can see how it's gonna look in that font. It's helped me a bunch of times. Especially if you're just doing like headers, because they can look so different depending on what font. Okay. I kind of want this to take up most of that first screen. World, name, super placeholder stuff right now. I'm gonna keep this video module, something that I think is really important when you're designing for websites like this, is to try to keep like some of your components consistent. So if you're gonna have videos, you can have maybe a couple sizes if that's necessary, but you definitely want to be like reusing some stuff. It really helps out with dev and your like site speed, and the list goes on and on. So I'm a big proponent for that. I have some copy here. I'm just gonna pull that. We don't need these. Also, just like a website thing in general, maybe not super important for a site like this, but you could still argue it's important. Having at least description copy for your videos will help. And just like SEO things, just like marketing lessons right now. And that's just how I think of when you're designing. It's really important if you're working at a company to like think of the needs of other departments.
Yeah, and so Jake was asking a bit about, do you ever design mobile first? So I think it is a good question to address, of just sort of like your process of either starting there or just like responsive design, and sort of talking about that a little bit.
Sure, yeah. At work, I actually do design mobile first. I would say like 75% of the time. I think that it's an interesting challenge, because I think having learned as a mobile first designer, because like people weren't always designing mobile first, right? I find it really challenging to go from mobile to desktop, because I don't know what to do with all of the like extra real estate. I don't know. I don't know if you found that like one is easier to design first versus the other. Or do you typically design mobile first, or?
I guess it depends on the project a little bit. I think typically that is sort of like the mantra, right? Design mobile first, and so in that case, we sort of do generally start there. But yeah, there are definitely, I think a lot more often than not at this point, it's just a lot also about thinking about generally how it's going to respond across all surfaces. And so I also think like one of the like newer features in Adobe XD, which is around like responsive resize, and sort of like having that auto versus manual control to work on that has been helpful when designing some of the more responsive screens I've been doing recently. It's not always like perfectly on track, but at most of the time it helps like really quickly to start to resize like a bunch of elements and get those done really quickly.
Yeah. I got too many shades. Too many shades of gray, I think. I forgot to break it up into different sections, so I'm gonna try to.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about like the handoff then afterwards. I think Masop was asking a bit about handoff to developers, and sort of wondering if you design some of the more like micro interactions separately after the project is done, or sort of like when that sort of happens in your process.
Yeah, so I think my personal process, I'm not sure if this is right or wrong, but I kind of think of what those interactions could be while I'm designing, but I definitely don't like completely prototype them all out up front. It kind of happens afterwards, but like sometimes when you're designing something, you'll be like, oh, this could be cool for that later. That's kind of my my process there. It also kind of depends on your, like, what platform you're working on for dev and stuff as to what's possible. I know working in e-commerce right now, we have a lot of like limitations around that kind of stuff, and that just leads you to like design with those things in mind, and that's like really common, at least for startups, because you have to work within the limitations of your site. Yeah.
I think it's also like bringing something to life is super important. Like the more realistic you can show someone of the design. I think like one of the beauties of using Adobe XD is the fact that there is design mode and prototype mode. So it's really fast to start to like bring your designs to life and not just have like this static thing. So at least for me, like starting to make those interactions or make the hover state and make it feel as realistic as possible, as fast as possible, is really important, because then I can really communicate my ideas like really quickly to other people, and when they play with it, it feels more realistic as well. And so whether that's actually to the developers and being able to communicate that with them, or just like other stakeholders or other people that I'm trying to like show this application to, I think that it's like been really helpful as a designer to be able to have like the prototype mode and the interactions more realistic.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think I was thinking of just more like really small detail things. Those are the things that I tend to save for later. But if you're gonna have like a hover effect or any type of like big transitions, XD is really good for prototyping those out and like getting people to see what you're thinking in your head, basically. And it lets everyone be more prepared later when it's really going to be in dev, and then there are like no surprises. Everyone has more time to plan out how they're gonna get their part of the project done, basically.
Totally, and so for those of you just joining us, like Jill is working on redesigning Kingdom Hearts 3 website, and so right now it's like early wireframe stage. But speaking of like prototypes, like hopefully we'll be here tomorrow and Thursday as well, and so over time you'll see her process, and we'll get to the state where we'll probably start to hook things up in the prototype mode, so you can see it come to life a bit more as you stick with us over the next couple days.
Yeah, I would love to have the time to do that at the end, so we're gonna try really hard. Form change. Is there some like super gamey terms happening? Like I don't actually even really know what. I guess form change is like the keyblades can probably evolve. If anyone knows what form change is, I don't
know what form change is.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that like keyblades have different forms, but I don't know. That, I guess I wasn't deep into the game enough to have that happen. Let's see. So just to kind of go over like what I have so far. Each world I know right now has like this kind of like promo video that's like pretty cool. It's like short and to the point. So I think having that live on the page would be interesting. Just because it is a video game, so motion is a thing. And each world has a like specific keyblade that you get when you complete that world. So having that kind of information, there's like a lot of different ways you could think about this and like divvy up all the pieces. But I think like categorizing it and like breaking it up by world and therefore like by Disney movie basically is a good way of going about that. Depending on how much time we have, we can definitely explore.
So I'm less familiar with Kingdom Hearts.
Sure.
So you have all your Disney characters. Do they overlap in the worlds, or is like each Disney character like a separate world?
So there's like both. So you have Donald and Goofy.
Okay.
They travel with the main character, Sora.
Okay.
Who's not like I don't know if he's considered a Disney character. I guess not. He's like specific to Kingdom Hearts. And they travel through all the worlds. So Donald and Goofy go to all the worlds. But then you have like different worlds where the Disney characters only live within those worlds. So it's kind of like you're stepping into their world and then you leave. And they all stay there. Yeah. I definitely like, I'm gonna try not to say anything in this, guys, that's gonna be super spoilery, but like, warning that we will be like talking about the different worlds. So if you don't know what the worlds are and you don't want to know, you are now warned.
Well,
probably
now
not
like,
really today, but like definitely when we get into visual design, because I'll be mocking up one of the worlds.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
exciting. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I do like respect the whole like no spoilers like gamer attitude too though. So I'm like trying to be. So I think having another block, the next block could be like the characters that are in that world. Which is kind of what we were just talking about. So in each world, there are characters that stay like contained within that world.
So Ramon said section
Yeah.
for heroes and villains. Are there villains in this version
Yes.
as well? And
Yep.
does the design, is there like a separation between that at all, or?
There wasn't yet, but there could be.
Ooh, yeah. Do you want to
yeah.
see, like, let us know, do you want to see that played up in the design, like heroes versus villains?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, how would you?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I was definitely thinking of that for if we do a characters page, which would be like a different way of displaying this information, there could be like heroes versus villains, and that would be a way to break it up when you have like so many there's so many characters in this game if you put them all on one page.
Yeah. Okay.
But it could be interesting to do just within the worlds too. I'm trying to think of like how many. Usually there's like one main villain per world.
Okay.
Yeah. So it might not make
As much sense.
as
there.
much sense there.
Yeah. So
but-
maybe on the characters.
But it is an
one.
interesting idea.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll use that if we end up doing a characters page.
Sometimes I do love a good villain.
Yes. Yeah, and they're all
good
they're the villains that are like from these movies, so it's cool. It makes the game interesting even if you're not like a super huge video game person. I think it's a nice game just for the fact that it's Disney. I love Disney.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to have like a characters heading. Actually, this will be easier. I'm gonna grab this. So we have our. There we go. For those of you that have played this game, what are some of your like favorite worlds from the new game, or like were there any worlds that you were really sad to not see come back?
Yeah, there are people in the chat who agree with me. Sometimes love a good villain.
Yes, always. I mean, honestly, sometimes you relate to them more. I don't know.
I like the devious ones for sure.
Yeah.
What does that say about me? Oh no.
Cool. I want to come up with like some sort of a way. Let's see if we'll line that up. Some sort of a way to just like showcase these characters. But this is gonna be super placeholdery for now.
Yeah, I'm excited for when we start to, like, tomorrow or the day after, like, also get to, like, the higher fidelity.
Yeah.
Because it'll be fun to start to see this come to life and, like, start to bring in all of these characters. And let us know what type of characters, like, what characters you guys want to see from the games maybe, like, highlighted here on, like, the characters page. Because I know there's a ton of different characters in the worlds. So we can probably highlight a couple fun ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's like so many. And then there's a whole set of characters that aren't part of any of those like specific worlds because they go with like the Kingdom Hearts game.
Okay.
It's really actually pretty confusing if you like don't know the game at all to understand all the characters, but that's not
I watched
not
like
necessary
a
for
little
this
promo
design.
video and it was like every
You're like,
character.
who
I
is
was like, wait,
this?
oh my gosh, like Ratatouille's in this, like Goofy's in this. What is happening?
Yeah. Here's a question for you. Is there a way to scale once you've done like repeat grid? Is there a way to scale that grid, or do you have to like have your size figured out before you use repeat grid?
Scale
Does that
the
make
entire
sense? Like, can I like scale this now?
I think you have to scale
have
the
to.
individual the elements. So like if you enlarge just your overall grid first, and then you change like your first element, it'll change everything for you within there.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, if
I
there's a
see.
feature, if there's something
There we
that
go.
you're seeing, yeah, there we go.
Yep.
In Adobe XD that you guys are wanting, I have pulled up, there's Adobe XD uservoice.com, and this is a great place to come and share the type of features or bugs that you're seeing in Adobe XD. But yeah, the entire XD team comes here and checks on the different types of requests that they're getting, and you can like up level ones. If someone else is like, I also want to see that feature, you can come in and you can up level it, and the team does look and consider, you know, what you guys are asking for, and then works on those features. So make sure, thank you for adding that in the chat, Val. You can check out that link and go ahead and, you know, request any new features that you're looking for. And there have been, you know, some new updates that have come in very recently, from like really small things that actually make a really big difference though in your workflow. So for me, having this new shortcut for the eyedropper, of just hitting eye and now being able to use the eyedropper seems so simple, but I'm just like, I've needed it. I'm so glad it's there now, because, you know, when you have like all the shortcuts across everything, your hands just get really used to doing it, and I kept pressing I and nothing was happening. But now it does eyedropper, and it's amazing.
Just like that.
Yeah, but there are some larger changes and updates here as well to Adobe XD. So yeah, definitely. You know, is there any big features that you guys are looking for that you guys want? Like, share it in the chat and let us know. But definitely go to uservoice.com as well and make sure that you're voicing it to the team, because they'll check it out.
Yeah, no, they're really great. They really do like listen to the feedback that you're all giving them, we're all giving them, to make the product like the best it can be. So. Let's see, these are gonna be like, I'm thinking ahead a little bit here. Having like the character image, probably their name, just so you know who they are. And then some sort of like either an expand, or maybe this would take you to a different page, to know more about like that character and like their strengths, weaknesses, video gamey things. So, let's see. I want to do like, just throw a triangle. Triangles are fine for now. Could be kind of cool as just like a drop down expand, because I'm not sure how much like separate content you would have for that per se.
Yeah.
But I really like having just like collapse expand things, because I like my views to normally be like pretty condensed. That's just my preference. But then designed to make it really easy for you to like find the information you want without leaving that page. And just having even like a lot of content on one page that's like scrollable, I think is kind of cool and like an in thing right now. I don't know if you would like agree or disagree, but I know there's been a lot of studies and stuff around like how much people are really willing to scroll, especially on mobile. Like mobile, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely used, you know, tracking sites for like a heat map to see like how far, like how much are people engaging, because the more you do have content though, like lower on the screen, some, you know, you do have drop off eventually that does happen. So like being considerate
it's like a balance
of that for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
And so a reminder, in about 25 minutes, we will be taking a look at the daily challenge. So any submissions there, we'll be providing feedback in about 25 minutes. So make sure that you're working on your music player apps, and we will take a look at them soon.
Yeah, that would be super, super cool. Definitely submit things. I want to look at your designs. I've never actually designed a music player, so I'm actually really interested to. No, I feel like it is one of those like design things that people will do for projects, but personally, I haven't done that one.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be curious to see what people do there and what they use for, like, what their inspo is.
You said there's a music section on this site, right?
Yeah.
What type of stuff goes in the music?
I
area?
think it would just be like there is there are like these songs that just like play repeatedly forever in this game. Basically,
Okay.
it's like the like semi-return of Skrillex and like I don't know. Like,
All right.
I forget who the other person is that does like that song that everyone
So
knows
it's not
if
like
you play this game. Oh my goodness, no,
Okay, all right.
no, they have their own music for this game,
Okay.
and actually just like Kingdom Hearts in general has like kind
Just
of
like the general
kind of cool
background
music, yeah.
that they have playing. Okay.
and just like info about that. Not 100% sure, but I thought it would be like an interesting tab, and I got that idea from some of the people I talked to. So just so everyone knows, I've been kind of doing this, but costumes is like certain worlds, not all of them, but some of them. The characters, like the main characters, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, their like outfits change for them to like fit in with that world. So like a couple of those would be like Monsters Inc. Is part of this game, and they basically like turn into the monster forms of themselves. It's like really cute. It's like a little weird, but it's cute. So I wanted to like showcase if it's applicable to the world, like what their like costumes are. Probably don't need this because there's only ever 3 of them. And let's see, the last thing that I wanted to put on this page, need a little more room, is just having, I know I was like criticizing their image gallery earlier, but I do think having some images that are like specific to that world, so you can get an idea of the like, just the look and feel.
Yeah, and so someone in the chat was wondering if you first started with storyboarding. And so if you weren't here earlier, Jill did share some of her sketches. So she did start originally like paper and pen, really quickly sort of sketching out her ideas. And then from there jumped into Adobe XD and is now making these wireframes from those ideas that she had. So that's sort of been at least the evolution of what we've been working on so far on this stream.
Yes. Yeah, definitely did not just like come up with this all on the spot right now. There was some storyboarding. Let's see, I kind of want these to be. I'm going to use repeat grid, I swear. I'm just not doing it at this stage. I'm just gonna think of that the whole time now. No, it's fine. It's smart. It's like a super useful tool. Okay. What if I do this? Aha, so fun. Okay. This still gets me every time. Like, I do use this, I swear, but it's like so great that you can like prototype and stuff this fast. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm thinking like 9 is a nice number there. Why not?
So Raphael's wondering, do you make your symbols and character styles before or after you finish your designs?
Good
or
question.
Ever? Never.
No.
Make them?
I do. I don't really tend to make symbols when I'm wireframing. I know a lot of people do, because it'll help with your speed. But I find if I try to wireframe, using symbols, it like really makes me like go through the wireframing process too fast, and I just tend to like slap those symbols on the page, and I'm like, okay, this is like fine. But I do think like if you do use symbols, it's definitely not like the wrong approach. And I know so many designers that do that for the sake of it makes your process a lot more efficient, and it can help making like the visual design piece faster if you're under like a really tight deadline, because you can update things faster.
Yeah, that's really true, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
100%.
Thanks for sending it in, Raphael.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think like the symbols aspect, I feel like as I'm working, at least for me, for sure, it's more of like as I go along and I start to work on the elements, I might make it a symbol, or definitely character styles, I make it as I go along. For symbols, I found I also do it a lot when I'm sort of collaborating with other people, just to make sure, since that element is coming across the design so much, that everybody is consistently using the same thing, especially since you can have them, across multiple files, and you can have a lot of linked elements now.
Yeah.
It's good to have that consistency and not have to like go in manually and change everything yourself.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. And I think it's also depends on like the scale of your team. So if you're working on a huge team, like that's invaluable. Like it's so helpful. I am used to working on like pretty small, scrappy teams. Really? So that probably is where some of this comes from. Me just like doing my own thing. That's the nature of like the startup world. But yeah, if you're at a big company, definitely.
So Ramon might know. Do you know the song, Kingdom Hearts song, Sanctuary?
Yeah, so I think that's the Skrillex song.
Is that the Skrillex song? Oh, okay.
I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, no, that's like, maybe it's not. It's one of like the theme songs, though. It's like one of the big ones. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's so sad that I can't remember, but that's cool. Okay, so got through rough homepage, what these pages could look like. Let me just add some like text here to kind of give it a little more. Nope. Let me move you. Right, because I should probably just put it into the repeat grid. Cool. Yeah, that's fine. Character name, maybe. Oh, it didn't change them. Okay. That's funny.
What were you expecting?
I updated the text, but it only updated it in one, even though.
Yeah, once you have your original, like you put down one piece of text, it'll show up across all, but then it has that instance where it wants you can customize each one.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's definitely more useful that way than like if it had done what I expected.
No, but I do run into the same thing that you just did, where it's like I sometimes realize that the standard text I want across all of them, I want to change what that actually is. But then I usually will just go in if I have enough instances where I just will make an entirely new text box because it's not worth going through.
Yeah. Let's see. Did I miss any? I'm just going.
But Howard just said you can push text overrides by right-clicking, which is a good tip as well.
Oh, okay. Huh. So many like small niche things. That's cool. Good. So we got our Keyblade info, we got our character info. This I'm thinking would be kind of a carousel. Would have like a slightly different form on mobile, but for the sake of desktop, I think it would be something like this. Costumes, there would only ever be 3 of these, so it doesn't need to be a carousel, at least for desktop. And then just having some like images, because I know that those assets do exist, and like I think it's a good way to get a sense of that world. And then your footer. Let's see. So from here we can either go characters, or I mean we can do any of them, but I'm thinking that characters or story would be interesting.
What do you guys think in the chat? Do you want to see mocking out a bit more of the characters page or the stories page? Let us know.
Yeah, I'm thinking that characters could be interesting, and then we could kind of group story in like by character. That might be a little more manageable. The story of like Kingdom Hearts itself, if we try to put it into one thing, is going to be I don't even, it might end up being broken up by characters. So it's either going to be characters broken up by story or vice versa. Yeah. I wish that I could like wrap my brain around the entire story of Kingdom Hearts, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
And so you're using a shortcut to copy and paste your artboard right next to it. Do you want to say what that is? People just know like what you're doing.
Oh yeah. Well, so to do that, it like renames them, which is interesting. But so you just click on the name of the artboard that you want to copy. I do Command C and then Command V. So kind of like copying and pasting anything else. So it's like really cool. It's just, I didn't even know that was like a shortcut, but it totally makes sense and it's like super intuitive, so that's helpful. Let's do characters. Yeah, let me know if I'm using like shortcuts. I just kidding.
Yeah, because there's multiple ways to do it, right? You can click on your artboard, you can you can hold down Option, right, and just sort of like drag over and have that there, or you can do the copy and paste, which is nice just because you get even spacing also, because it places it right next to it for you.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. The OCD in me is like very happy with that. And that's like the same.
Or Command D. I think that works as well.
Oh, that's it.
Instead of a double up of Command C.
Oh, okay. So you just do Command D.
You try.
Interesting. And yep.
There you go.
Sure enough. Cool. Oh, that's new. Thanks. I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of different ways to do it, and some are more efficient than others. But yeah, there's so many ways to like get another artboard out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good tip to have. So Command D.
And I know that at least some of that works for like individual elements. So I use like Option drag a lot when I'm duplicating elements on the artboard. But I find that it's like more efficient to do some of the other stuff, to duplicate entire artboards themselves.
Yeah.
Just because of my OCD, mostly. Let's do characters. So, definitely don't need this video section, because I think that's just like a little overkill. Should we have, let's see. I'm definitely going to take that idea of villains versus heroes / non-villains. I don't know if you'd call everyone in Kingdom Hearts a hero, but it could be like villains, heroes, and like other characters.
Okay.
And I'm going to take that idea. So we're going to have... Boop. Should I put villains or heroes first? You seem to be partial to villains.
Mean, yeah, I'm like, maybe heroes, keep it light, and then we'll get into
villain.
like the, like the evil villains at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Got our heroes.
I know I did sway it very quickly towards the villain side. I don't know. Yeah, that was bad. Gave it away
that's
too
funny.
soon.
It's good. It's good. Let's grab those.
Now I'm curious when we take our quizzes from the Kingdom Hearts quiz of like what character are you. It'd be really intriguing if I get a villain. Let's hope that's not the case. Do you know if villains are an option for that?
They must be, right? Let's just look for a second here, because I know there was like a wheel of, it's like rotated. Nope, that was wrong. Clicked on the wrong tab. Definitely there's gonna be heroes. Donald.
Goofy, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is just heroes.
I feel like they might not want to give. Well,
they don't want to tell you you're a villain.
Well, maybe they'll probably sneak it in. I feel like a villain will come out randomly.
Yeah. No, it's not happening. I thought we'd...
So many iconic characters, though.
Yeah, this kind of gives you an idea of the worlds.
Yeah, coming back to this page now and like having... So this is, for those of you just joining us, this is the existing Kingdom Hearts website, and Jill has been taking a look in Adobe XD at redesigning, what she imagines for Kingdom Hearts website, and so it's nice and interesting to come back to see this comparison of what exists right now. I know you're obviously haven't gotten into the like super visual aspects yet. We're just still in like wireframing. Yep. But yeah, it's fun to come back and see what there is. I don't know, would you, I guess Jack Sparrow is.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Like,
he's
right, he's a
the-
torn, like, I don't know if you'd
Yeah.
call him a hero, like you said.
I
He might be in the
know.
other category.
He does some questionable
Yeah,
stuff
he
where
potentially
you
is
can't be a hero.
yeah.
But, yeah, just so if you've joined since we started, this is the website as it stands right now. And not like a lot of the content we've been mapping out, but so we're gonna add some stuff in, and have it not just be just screenshots of the game. So let's get back. Here we go.
Raphael, thanks for sending in some great questions. Raphael's wondering, when designing, do you typically look for inspiration or just go off by what you know?
Definitely look for inspiration. I don't think there's anything wrong personally with like seeing what other people have done. Definitely don't go around like copying people's design work, but I think that like taking inspiration from other designers is like, if someone took inspiration from my work, that's like the greatest form of flattery. So definitely yes.
Do you have places that you typically go for inspiration?
It like varies, but just like a lot of Googling different, I know there's so much work on Behance of other designers. You can kind of see what other people are doing. And yeah, it just depends. Or like for this project, I definitely looked at some of the more like current, like modern websites for different games. Like I think someone mentioned Fortnite in the chat. Their website is pretty solid, and yeah, just different games like that, and just saw like what content they typically include. Because in this case, I don't have anyone like giving me the content.
Right, yeah, you don't
which
have
would
like a
be
client or anything either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when like on a project like this, it's like figuring out like what exists in the landscape of like the general genre or things that you're doing, and like, you know, what you like from those pieces or what you don't like, and just, you know, like what that entire landscape is. But I think even just for like regular projects, it's like great to stay inspired and just sort of like look at other applications and like Behance, Dribble, all of those sites for sure. If you guys have places that you guys go for inspiration, like send those in through the chat so everyone can sort of see and click around all of the places that you guys are looking at.
Yeah, definitely let me know if you have any like awesome websites that you go to for design inspo. Yeah, I definitely do. No sense in reinventing the wheel every single time you go to do something. I think that's a good way to look at it too. Okay, we got our heroes. Definitely not gonna need all of this.
Here we've got Pinterest, Behance, of course.
Behance. Villains? I feel like that's like so harsh, but I guess it is. It's villains. So yeah, I'm gonna keep these as kind of the same carousel structure that we used on the other page. And trying to decide if I need like a third category or format. What do you guys think? Do you think that there's so many characters in Kingdom Hearts, and not necessarily all of them are like a straight up hero or a villain, but that also means they're not quite as important to like the main story. So I'm not sure if those should be included. Maybe they are included in a different format.
You could probably keep it heroes and villains for now. And then we can, maybe when we go through and we start looking at all the characters more specifically, we can see if we find some we really want to include, and if there's like another category we might want to add. But it's funny seeing like the conversation in the chat of some people starting to like list their favorite villains.
Support characters. That's a good
good
way to put it. Yeah, that's the word.
Supporting characters.
I'm like, other characters that don't matter. No,
it reminds me now, since like the Oscars just happened, it's like supporting actors, but we have supporting characters that are coming in.
Another way to do it would be grouping them by like, so in Kingdom Hearts, some of them are like somebodies, some are nobodies. And then there's Heartless. It's like very complicated.
Okay.
We're not going to do that for the sake of this, to keep it something that is like not as insanely complicated, but that would be another way. That could be interesting.
I think that's something that's also fun with this site, is that there's this complexity of like you have the entire gaming world and you have like all these characters and all of this content and these different worlds, and you need to visualize something from a video game into the site, and you need to figure out like how to organize all of that information, and like for you want to like keep it somewhat simplified. And so I feel like that's really like the task at hand in XD that you're going through right now, of like how much content should I show, how many of these villains should I not, you know, should I do a carousel and just show 3 or should I show 9, or right, that's like the big question.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually,
we have
for
additional characters.
Yeah.
Is Ty's suggestion, and then Ramon has supporting characters.
Supporting, I like supporting. It's kind of like the word I was looking for in my mind, but was not coming up with it. So we'll do that for now. I'm gonna make another of these. Oop, there we go. Kind of want to keep these roughly the same. Obviously, this is not an exact science, but that's close enough for this. I'll show.
Yeah, Eric is like, it really looks like a fun game. And I'm like, I had never heard of this game until I realized that she was going to be redesigning the site. And now I'm also like super interested in playing. But the issue is, so I have, you said I think it's on like a PS, right?
think
but it's PS4.
PS4 and...
See, I'm really lame, and I still have a PS2. I don't have anything higher than that. But the benefit to it is that all of my friends who have a PS4 are giving me all of their PS2 games because they can't play them anymore. So I've been getting a lot of really great games.
PS2 was like earth-shattering back in the day.
Oh, so good.
And honestly, one of the reasons that I acquired a PS4 was because of this game.
Oh, really? Okay, I feel like that's typically what happens. There's eventually a game that you want so badly that you just have to buy the latest.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want these to be white, which I know seems insane. Let's kind of want to put this in a separate section so it's like on a different hierarchy eventually. We'll get to that in visual design, but for the sake of wireframing, we'll just keep it on like a different category than the up top. I want these to be like the main part of the page, definitely, because that's gonna have the most info and it's the most interesting, because supporting characters are obviously, they're supporting characters, so they're kind of like secondary information. Let's see, costumes, nope. Are we doing on time? I just want to make sure that I'm not gonna like...
About 2 minutes until we'll take a look at any of the daily challenge submissions. Yeah, so we're excited to take a look at those soon. So make sure that you get those links in the next minute and 33 seconds. I was trying to get that like directly on the time of the little thing. But
yeah, send in your work. I'm so excited to see what you guys have come up with. I think there's so much like room for improvement in the music player space right now personally, but so very intrigued to see what you do. I think that for the sake of this, we could do like trying to think of what would be a cool interaction for finding out more about these characters, whether it takes you to a different page or if you stay here and you learn more. But I don't want to like start anything too crazy since we only have a minute. Let's say you move some of this down for now. That's not what I want to do. Also, a super useful thing, which a lot of you probably already know, but just for the sake of explaining a little bit of what I'm doing, if you hit Command and then click, it like lets you directly like pick whatever is under your mouse, which is really useful in like all these grouping and like layering situations that happen in XD. So I want to expand this. Yeah, that's right. are we doing?
Countdown is at 0. I know, I just looked up. I'm like, it's at 0.
Okay.
Awesome. So we'll transition very subtly, clearly, to checking out our daily challenge submissions. So we have 2 that we can take a look at and get some of Jill's feedback on these as well. So it was like the music app. So we have one in from Malavika. We have a light UI theme. So
Oh, awesome. I like the background a lot. Cool, yes. And I love that you used purple. I know you only use it in a couple places, but purple.
I feel like it draws
It
my
looks
attention
good.
directly to, for sure, since they're like looser wireframes, but you have sort of that bottom navigation that's really nice and clean, and something you're very used to, I feel like, at the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah. No, I like this a lot. It looks really good. Good use of like, especially in that first screen. I think having that a little more like white space there helps it breathe a little bit. Yeah, your type hierarchy is really good for like I like how you have the song name bigger, and like the artists, and I'm trying to see what that even says under it, but yeah, that's good.
I think the nice thing is that when you have, you have the gray boxes where obviously you'd be dropping in like the content of like the music albums for the artists and things, is when you have artwork like that, like really letting it speak for itself. So you have just like a very clean background, like it's just gonna be white.
We went over this one.
Oh, you have gone over this one?
So let's just move.
We're just gonna move right on to our next submission. All right, so we have one from Faisal. I hope you're saying your name correctly, but we have Vidly, an online video platform.
Oh,
Thoughts on this one?
Okay. Interesting. So this
A
is
lot
like,
of content here.
yeah, wow. I like how you used you showcased the images.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you were just saying, like that's a really good way to get the content out there.
It's nice. It has sort of like just one, you have like your main color palette, which is going to be like this sort of like green, sort of tealy color that you have, and then like your black background, almost Spotify-esque kind of going on there. But letting like the artwork speak in really large places, which is nice.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
this looks
thoughts on
great.
this?
This is like really impressive for that amount of time, I feel like. Good work. Yeah, I also just really like, this is my personal preference, I really like the green CTAs. I feel like are cool for this kind of a thing. And they really like draw your eye to that button. Assuming that's like the main action you want the user to take on that screen, then that's like a great way to make that happen.
And it's nice to see, I think you have potentially, are these all, I think, phone screens then?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure with this top one here, yeah.
I think that's even a phone screen. I think it's just larger, so we can see like all of the little thumbnails.
This looks really nice, really clean and simple, like even in your navigation here, which is nice. Yeah, just really like clean here in your search. And having like the different categories is really nice as well, to block out the content. So awesome job. Thank you for posting this. And for those of you who didn't get a chance to submit to the daily challenge, at least for the section today, we'll be back again tomorrow on Thursday, or there's also another segment after us. So if you stay tuned, you can always submit to the section after this as well. Cool, so we'll jump back into Jill's designs. So just to give you a bit more context as well, for those of you who may just be joining us now, Jill is designing a redesign of the Kingdom Hearts website, and she's in Adobe XD right now going through and has come up with a couple different screens for the wireframe so far.
Cool. Okay, so continuing on here, I want to make it a state kind of that could show what this looks like expanded. I might be lost in my layers though here, but how can I grab this, Grace?
Will you grab the gray box?
Yeah.
You can't double click in there?
I guess not. Weird. I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, that's fine. I can just, maybe if I ungroup these, it might be easier actually, because I don't need all of them to change. I just wanted one of them to change, really. Oh, whoa. Weird. Okay, that's fine. So just having like maybe a little bit of description in here. Oh. Just gonna put like one letter in so that it will let me fill it with placeholder text later. I've noticed with the plugin, it's like a little bit that you have to, if you try to fill a empty box, at least I've never gotten it to work. I don't know if that's just me. You have to have like at least one letter so that it will let you go back and fill a box. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of how I've found. This. These should definitely be left aligned. That's my bad. But this is kind of my rough process here of getting the wireframe. Kind of just I want to show like making one of these more expanded. I'm not sure exactly what the content would be in one of these heroes tiles, but I think that having like a description, and it could probably take up like 2 of those columns. So we're just gonna like guesstimate that right now. Super official here. But having it expand and giving you like more real estate in that expanded state. Group these. And having like a link for.
So do you typically, you have the design and prototype mode, do you typically do all your prototyping at the end of like where and how everything connects? Or would you typically, like now you're in the wireframe phase, do you at any point sort of start to hook things up at all?
It depends, I would say. For like this, yeah, it depends on how many like states, I guess, of your wireframe that you want to make, right? I think on like larger projects, sure, I will definitely prototype some of it out in the wireframe stage, because it's really important when you're working with a like dev team to actually bring something like this to life to make sure that it's all like feasible up front. So prototyping those out is like really, really important. For this, I figured that it would be cool to focus on doing like the basic wireframes and then make those states in like the visual design stage and then like show how those hook together.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not gonna go too crazy with that for just for the sake of this project. I wanna grab, probably shouldn't have ungrouped those. I try not to ungroup things. I know it's not like best practice per se, but let's see, ungroup, great. Grab this. So for people in the chat, what do you guys think about like prototyping in XD for this kind of stuff? Do you tend to prototype all your wireframes out? I'm kind of curious if I'm in the minority of people that tend to like save the interaction stuff for the end, but you can definitely,
how much are you switching between design and prototype mode while you're working, or are you sort of segmented in your process of you're in design mode and then at the very end you're sort of going into prototype mode or something?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I definitely want to do some prototyping. And I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Get all my pieces, all my ducks in a row here, guys. Images. It's almost like, I feel like the hero's or character info could live on a separate page, actually, now that I'm like really fleshing this out. I think that having like a page for a hero, because you could get into some really cool like story type info because the story is so complicated. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually change this up a tiny bit. And I'm gonna make it so instead of that, you've got like your hero image, which.
So we have some people answering that earlier
Oh,
question
yeah.
that we just asked. And Kevin says, I think that prototyping while you design so that it keeps the link. Mark was saying usually do interactions with mobile UI and go back and forth between design interactions. So do some designs, do some interactions, go back to design. I feel similar. I mean, I feel like I tend to kind of go back and forth a bit. At least for me as well, I find that sometimes I think a navigation or something works in my head, but until I prototype it out, and actually just like link things up, whether it's complex or not, just like the general nav, sometimes that helps me.
Yeah.
Raphael's wondering, do you do any user testing? If so, do you test the wireframe or the visual UI design?
Definitely test, or at least I test the wireframes. So in that case, you would make a more like fleshed out prototype. And yeah, that's a good way to make sure that by the time you get to visual design, you're designing exactly the right thing, because if you wait to test until the end, sometimes you can find that you like overlooked certain things, or that people don't behave the way you expect them to, which is a lot of the time actually, and then you have to go back and redo the wireframes and the visual design. So it's like kind of having that iterative process is really
I think it's a
really
balance. I think like you
important.
want to test as soon as possible for sure, but I also think there's a level of fidelity that you need to have to get accurate testing. So like if you just have, you know, purely, you know, gray boxes and things, like people sometimes leaving it to their imagination isn't going to give you the best type of feedback, right? So you do want to have a certain level of visual design, I find, so that you are getting accurate feedback as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like that medium fidelity wireframes, you could say, where you have some of the like placeholder content, so that people can understand what you're trying to show them. Like this,
these
these
users typically
wireframes would
don't
not
understand.
be.
Yeah, they don't know what this is. Like
Yeah.
even like people, you know, around the office that, you know, aren't designers, like will not know what that really means to have a gray box. To Raphael's point. So it could just be more confusing to test it at that point versus having, you know, making it look as realistic as possible and trying to put in some of the content. I feel like it's important.
Yeah, if I was, so for example, if I was going to test like this page, the world's page, and see like how people interacted with it, I would put like the actual logos in here.
Yeah.
And an image up here. It wouldn't just be like a gray box. For video, I don't usually include like videos in prototypes. I don't know if you do or if anyone else does, but you can kind of like see if they try to interact with it, then you know they
Yeah,
will.
exactly.
So it's kind of like that
you,
stuff.
If you want them to interact with it, though, you want it to look like something that is something that you could
That you
interact
could
with, right? So I would
interact
like
with.
take a screenshot of something, maybe put it there. It doesn't have to be something that you could actually click and play, like embed a video, but making it look realistic enough while you're testing with people, and then, you know, if they do click on it, then you know that they were at least interested in trying to click on it. But if it's just a white box, they might not even go to click on it.
Yeah, exactly. So you could have like your image in here with the triangle, but it's not like a playable video.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the line gets drawn. And for these, like you'd have the character images, and maybe even like a second screen that shows what the expanded state of these boxes is to like give people an idea of the content there. So it's, you kind of, when you're user testing, you have to really you have to kind of be the judge of where that line of like fidelity is. I don't know if you'd like agree with that, but you have to know what you're trying to learn from the user test and make sure that you have enough information in there so that you can get those answers.
Totally.
Yeah.
Rem, thank you for joining us on the chat. Thanks for everyone who's still staying active. And if you have any more questions, these are great questions around like process or just tips and tools or any career questions. Like feel free to keep asking those. We're here to be here with you guys. We're still here for the next couple of minutes, and then there will be another stream on after us as well, so you can stay tuned for that.
Want to do that placeholder thing again? It's always more difficult than I imagined. Like, how do I get you to? Okay. Nope. I think it's because my text is white, so it keeps disappearing. I swear. There we go. See, I know it's there. It's just,
you have a white.
It's because it's white. Okay. I swear I'm not crazy. I know how to like. Okay. There we go. It's the white. Perfect. Worked. This I think would be like you have their name, the picture, and then sort of just like a blurb about, could be like what world they belong to, different information about their story, which could be like from that movie, or it could be just their story in regards to the Kingdom Hearts plot. But you definitely want to have like the world that they belong to, so. You can even get into some like crazy detailed info about like at what point they appear in the game. But for this sake, we'll just leave it as that. I'd want to have like information on their part in that game, which could be like a timeline, which would probably have to be a crazy graphic and something that we will not come up with in this stream, but we can add a placeholder for it. Yeah, this would be like where your trusty graphic designer would come in and they could create a really cool graphic that would show the like insane plot that character follows. Oh, insane depending on the character, I suppose. But wait. This probably want.
So is the timeline going to be individual to each of the characters? Like, is it a character timeline?
I think that would be like interesting, because it would at least give you an idea of when that character appears during this like long point. And a lot of these characters, they do exist in the 3 games as well.
Okay.
So you'd have to decide, do you want to just focus on Kingdom Hearts 3 because that's what this site is for, and like only their parts in that timeline, or do you want to have some kind of a way to do like, you'd have your main like Kingdom Hearts 3 timeline,
Cool.
and then like it could be like sub timelines with just like key events. That was something that I know I struggled with playing this game, was I was trying to remember these events or like the plot from these other games that I played as a kid 14 years ago. So like having some way to have an easy refresher of that, I think is cool. I think there's a time and a place in this imaginary site for like a full like more comprehensive timeline, but that would be a whole project in itself. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Sam, thanks for joining us all the way from Switzerland, which is
Wow.
really cool. Because we're in San Francisco, which is pretty far from Switzerland. Right
Yeah.
now. I don't know what time it would be over there, actually.
Yeah, what is the time?
Very different. Hefty.
Hefty.
Quite a large time
Yeah.
difference, I would assume. But yeah, Jill's just finishing out, I feel like, wrapping up sort of some of the
just
latest wireframes for today. And today is just the first of 3 days that Jill is going to be with us, which is really exciting. So you can follow along. Like today was really just the start. And we have like the foundation of these wireframes and the sketches. And yeah, to Abram's point, you think it needs a little color? That comes next in the next phase. Yeah, so it's going to get more visual.
Agreed.
We're going to start to pick, our characters, our heroes, and our villains to start to bring in. So this thing's really going to come to life tomorrow and Thursday. So make sure to come back. We'll be here same time, so 11 o'clock tomorrow as well. And then we have another daily challenge tomorrow. We have our portfolio reviews on Thursday, so you guys can get involved and share portfolios with us, and we'll be able to give you some feedback on those on Thursday, which is really exciting. And then you're not on Twitter, right? But I am. I'll be posting probably something about the stream. So if you guys have any feedback or any thing that you want to see on tomorrow's stream, like what characters you really want to see in the designs, my handle is @morimotomade, so make sure to chat at us, and then we can go ahead and that's me. Then we can make sure that we can cater the stream to you guys tomorrow, which will be really fun.
There's so many fun characters, but I'd definitely be curious to know what you guys are interested in seeing. Sam said it's 10 p.m.
In
Switzerland.
Thank you for letting us know. The daily challenge, the information will be up, and it's on Behance. We have the challenge tab that you can find more information on. We will be back on the stream again tomorrow, and there's another stream just after us, so stay tuned for that. Ainsley will be on as well. So thank you guys. This is our schedule. We have Ainsley on right after us, 1 o'clock, that's Pacific time. And then this is the schedule, again, for the next 3 days. So it will stay exactly the same, and Jill will be back with us.
Yeah, come back, see where this project goes.
You're like, I don't know where it's going, but we'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes.